Welcome to Mild Moodcast, a podcast meant to explore mental health through the lens of another human hanging on by a thread. I'm Bianca, a registered mental health counselor intern, soon to be LMHC, here to chat about the topics we don't get enough of. So grab your headphones and let's dive into the crazy world of mental health. It's going to be a wild ride. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Mild Moodcast. I'm so excited that you're here with me today. We're going to be talking about sacred rage and how anger can be transformational. And I know you might be thinking to yourself, like, we've been talking about this emotion for a minute, but I talk about them in different ways. If you notice, it says transformational. So we're exploring rage, anger, and how to use it and why it's important, instead of just talking about this emotion over and over again and beating a dead horse. I promise this one's different. So as always, my podcast is meant to be helpful and offer insight. It is not a replacement for therapy. Yes, I am a therapist, but unless you are one of my clients, I'm not your therapist. If you're feeling overwhelmed by your anger, please consider reaching out for support. Therapy is an incredible space for exploring emotions like this. Now, let's jump into it. When you think of anger, what comes to mind? Maybe it's something you've been told to suppress, or maybe it's something that feels out of control. But what if anger could be sacred? A force that doesn't destroy, but transforms. Today we're talking about sacred rage. The kind of anger that wakes you up and pushes you forward. We're going to explore why your anger is valid and how it can create change. And what happens when you learn to work with it instead of against it. For so many of us, anger is something that we've been taught to avoid or suppress. Women are called hysterical. Men are labeled aggressive, and marginalized groups are often silenced altogether. But the reality is, anger isn't dangerous. It's normal. It's a healthy emotion that tells us something needs to change. So what happens when we suppress it? By now you are aware, if you've listened to my other episodes, and if not, you should definitely go back, but you're aware that when we push an emotion down, it doesn't go away. But instead, it festers. Suppressed anger turns into resentment, self-doubt, or even physical symptoms like headaches or tension. What happens when we stop seeing anger as something to fix and start seeing it as something to listen to? You know, anger is a call to action. Think about the last time you were angry. Was it because someone crossed the line, disrespected you, or acted unjustly? Anger shows us what matters. It's saying this is important. Pay attention. You know, anger can lead to action. If someone's in a toxic relationship, maybe they spent a lot of time not standing up for themselves. Anger allows you to stand up for yourself. It allows you to advocate for a cause or address systemic injustice. It allows you to set new boundaries after recognizing patterns that hurt you. So the next time you feel angry, ask yourself, what is this anger asking me to protect? My time? My energy? My values? You know, reframing is so important when it comes to something that everybody experiences. Now, I'm not saying flat out that there aren't major amounts of anger that need to be addressed. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, if things start to get too overwhelming, if you notice that it is just at a level of this is not okay, definitely seek help. Definitely reach out. But the anger that I'm talking about, that I think most of us, if not all of us, can identify with, is the anger that helps us make a difference. Sacred rage isn't about lashing out. It's about letting anger show you where your power lies. It's the moment that you decide, I deserve better, and I'm going to do something about it. The civil rights movements, feminists, advocacy. There are so many places where anger was used as a catalyst for change. But there have been so many times throughout our history, throughout our lives, where people are using anger for the right reason. And maybe not even for the right reason, but they're seeing anger and using anger for what it's meant to show you. A great example of a time where someone or something was trying to use anger for what it's meant to show you. In some stories and cultures, anger isn't seen as a bad thing. It's like this big, powerful force that can help clear out what's wrong and make way for something better. For example, Kali, a goddess in Hinduism, I hope I said that right, gets really fierce and destroys things, but not just for no reason. She does it to protect people and make things right. So instead of thinking that anger is something that we should hide, this example kind of shows you that it actually helps us grow and make the world better. It's like a tool we can use if we handle it wisely. You might have thought to yourself for a second, like, she was destroying things. Like, yeah, obviously I don't want you to go out into the world and start destroying things and being like, this is for a better place. No, that's not the point. But if you're using your discernment, which I trust that you are, you understand how important it is to feel this feeling and let it push you in the direction of better. Sacred rage is the part of you that refuses to settle. It's the voice that says no more. So it isn't just about feeling angry. It's about using that energy to create. If you're in an unhealthy relationship and you're angry, using that energy to leave. Using that energy to communicate. And sometimes if you're in an unhealthy relationship, it doesn't matter how many times you communicate, nothing is going to change. So you're going to use that anger to realize that. Use that anger to recognize that you have been living in a cycle and you're ready to change it. It's okay to be angry. Use that. Communities uniting to fight for justice. There is so much going on in the world right now. So many instances where people feel like they don't have a voice. And the key is unity. Another good example is someone setting a long overdue boundary with a family member. Maybe you have someone that likes to dictate your life, your decisions. Could be family, could be a romantic partner, could be a colleague. Every little thing you tell them, they negate. Everything you tell them, they say, no, I think you should think of this. And they want you to live for them as opposed to living for yourselves. And maybe that makes you angry. Maybe that makes you feel like you aren't living your life for you, authentically for yourself. Anger pushes you to change. Anger pushes you to say, these are my boundaries now. A boundary, if I haven't said this before, is not, you won't do this thing to me. A boundary is, I will only be here for so long if you continue. And they have the choice to continue whether or not. And I'm going to tell you what, 9 times out of 10 people are going to continue. But you have the power to walk away from that. And that's the point. Sacred rage asks us to act, but not recklessly. It asks us to channel our anger into something meaningful, Sure, you could look at everybody and be like, bump you guys, I'm out, I hate you, I never wanted to be here, da-da-da-da-da. But that's not truly going to help you make change. That's going to help you flare and recklessly spend that energy. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Sometimes people deserve to get cussed out. But we want to figure out how to use that to feel good, not feel worse. So think about this for a moment. What can I do today that honors my anger and moves me forward? If you notice, I haven't said that changes my anger. I haven't said that cools it off. No, what can I do today that honors it and moves me forward? Rage can also unite us. Notice as I can. And it sounds silly, but whether it's in a social movement or personal relationships, it shows others what we care about and where we stand. Consider that as you sit with that emotion. Sometimes we need it to do the opposite of uniting us. Sometimes we need to use it because we spent so much time tiptoeing around the way that we felt for other people. And now it's time for me to speak up and move on and do better. My version of better, not theirs. You might be amazed at how many people are terrified of that feeling. Some people won't even admit that they're experiencing rage because it's just been made out to look like this insane monster. Just the word rage makes people shake. And they go, no one should feel rage. You shouldn't be feeling rage. And then we end up shaming something that's a part of pretty much all of us at one point or another. Even that person that might have come to mind, oh, they're the sweetest person in the world. They could never be experiencing rage. No, they do. For something, they just don't share it. And that's not to say that your rage has to flow into other areas of your life. No, people don't have to see that. But it's not about it being scary or too much or too big. It's just about what is it trying to get you to change. My rage helped me create better boundaries. My rage helps me pull away from social media sometimes. That might sound silly, but you need a break. You get tired of being watched all the time and you just want to disappear. Disappear in a good way, you know? Go sit outside in the sun, even though it's been cold. So some of you can't sit outside. I live in Florida, which means I can sit outside sometimes, but put your toes in the grass and just detach. My rage did that. It allows me to spend time knowing and loving who I am. Now, obviously, it soothes eventually. It's not going to be rage forever because you're giving it attention, right? But that's the point. What do you need to give attention to so that it can be transformed into something else and then it doesn't feel like rage anymore? As you think over that, I created 7 journal prompts for Sacred Rage. And if you go to the description for this episode, you will find the Google link. And I want to give you a little bit of final encouragement. Your anger isn't something to fix or hide. It's something to honor. It's sacred because it's yours and it's trying to protect you. The next time anger shows up, don't push it away. Ask it, what are you here to teach me? And then listen. Fire can burn everything down, but it can also warm us, light the way, and forge something new. Thanks for listening today, guys. And I hope I see you next week. It's going to be an episode on how men redefine strength. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Mild Moodcast. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. If you have any burning questions or topics you'd like me to cover, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me on YouTube at Mild Moodcast and Instagram at Mild Mood Therapy. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to explore the wonderful world of mental health together. Until next time, stay curious and keep smiling.